What's up guys? Today I'm going to explain how I'm learning another language, so let's go! Some of you may be wondering, how did you get on this learning a language by yourself train? Well, let me tell you. Back in 2020, in the dark ages where we had quarantine, day after day after day, I was on YouTube. Wow. Yup. And guess what? I clicked on this video and they're of polyglots just talking in different languages and communicating to each other, and that was like insane. It blew my mind. How could one learn so many languages? So that was a black hole for me. Went down a rabbit hole of polyglot YouTube videos, and I really found out that they have a different way of learning than traditional like classroom style. And so I wanted to try it out. It seemed really cool, and I was all for it. So right now I'm learning Japanese, and I'm using Japanese Pod 101 to learn the 3 scripts. Hey, I just learned this. It's amazing. And I'm like, why do they do this? Japanese has 3 written scripts that they can all be in one sentence, like all of the scripts. Like you have to learn hiragana, katakana, and kanji. That's insane. Blows my mind. And I'm like, we only have 1 alphabet in English. Like what? What's going on? And yeah, and then what I'm also going to do to learn vocabulary and to put it into my long-term memory is to use Anki, which is, it combats the forgetting curve. And if you don't know what the forgetting curve is, it basically says that if you learn something new, and if you go from 100%, after an hour, only 44% of what you learned is retained in your memory, and it keeps going down from there. So it's exponentially decreasing, which is insane to think about. But if you repeat, or if you go back to your notes and reread what you were taught earlier after class, after that hour, you can regain 100% retention. And so that's mind-boggling. So you can use that to your advantage. And so Anki does that. It goes from like 15 minutes to a day to 2 days, and you keep going and going until eventually you will never forget that piece of information. It'll be stored in your long-term memory. And that is what I want. I want to learn all these characters and put them in my long-term memory, so when I need to use them, when I go to Japan, when I'm talking to a native speaker, then I have that knowledge ready to go right in my long-term memory. I can pull it out and use it. And also, I want to be more immersed in my language learning. Of course, I'm in the United States, and so everywhere around me is going to be in English, but I want to learn Japanese. So I have to do everything in my power to get myself immersed in Japanese. And so what I'm doing, I'm listening to podcasts. Podcasts are extremely flexible. You can listen to them while you're doing chores, while taking a walk, while sitting there spacing out, and you can listen. What I'm watching is a Japanese podcast. They talk in Japanese about anime, and I have no idea what they're saying, but it's good to listen to their inflections when they're speaking. And like, if I ask you a question like, how are you doing? There's like an inflection in the sentence to when you ask questions, to exclamations, and just a simple statement like, this is a chair, is different from the inflection of, how are you doing? You know? So I want to learn that so I can try to emulate it and imitate a native speaker when I speak myself. And also, I will be listening to Japanese songs, and I forgot the artist's name. It was recommended to me online. Let me look at it. I have it written down somewhere. The artist's name is Yorushika, so I will be listening to her music, and of course I'm open to many more artists, and just to try to get myself immersed. Also, I will be trying to speak a little bit more, and so I will probably use italki which is an online service that connects you with native speakers, and you can have conversations, and they will teach you some phrases to use, and it's great to talk with a native speaker in your target language. And then also I'll try to find native speakers within the area if I can. So those are my few things that I'm going to do to learn my language. Of course, they're subject to change. There's so many different language learning techniques. Like, I know Steve Kaufman, he's a polyglot, and he likes to read and listen as much as possible, have as much input as possible before speaking, and it works really well for him. I know Lindy Botez, I think that's her name. I'm sorry if I messed up that name, but she has an incredible note-taking technique that she does, and there are others who do flashcards, pictures. There's so many techniques, and I'm flexible to that change. I can probably change my methods next week if I really wanted to, but I'll stick with what I have now and then see what happens. Maybe I'll get an app soon or something, but I'll put an update on YouTube for you if I do change, so you can check in on my progress. But that's it for now. We'll see you next time.